Welcome back to my next video series. So we are working on our tasks here. I don't know if this is the same document which we are working on, but I'll just go through what we have done so far and what is pending, or this is the expectation of almost 70%, 70 to 75% of the work which is completed. Let me start from the first. So this is the topology which we are working on with 192.168.1.0 network on here, which is a Windows network, and then we have a 192.168.2.0 network, which is a Debian network we have, and then we have these two networks connected directly, or we are just trying to simulate an WAN connectivity here, but it is just a direct point-to-point connection for us at the moment. And this is a 10.0.0.1 network. So this is the network we have in our previous videos. Yes, we have configured. So what are the things we should have configured now? So we have downloaded all the servers. Uh, so the Windows part, the client, and the Debian Linux is done. We have configured the IP address and the test connectivity. So this is likely the part of your first part of your assessment or work which you are working on. So at that point, what you should have achieved is this PC can communicate with this server, and this server can communicate, can talk with the client. The same way the Debian client can talk with the Debian server, and the Debian server can talk with the Debian client. The same way this interface, this server can talk to the Windows server. The same way the Windows server can talk to the Debian server as well, because they both are connected directly with a 10.0.0.0/30 network. So this is the connectivity checkpoint. However, what is not the case is anything from here can't reach out or can't ping anything over here in this network. So this can't be happening at this point, at this level where you have just configured, you have just installed your servers and you have configured the network IP address, not enabled routing, right? So this is a checkpoint which we should be having, and from there you start. And we are now trying to establish communication between interconnected networks, to be fair, right? So different configurations has to be done. So we were doing these configurations. There were past videos which has been already out, which says how we are going to configure. As I said in my previous videos, planning is very important when we go to the next part, or a bit advanced part of configuring the network rather than installing the network. So installing, you can just do it. If you have an issue, you can just restart it from the scratch. However, when you're going to configure things, you are adding a bit of more resources or more services into your network, which means if you want to restart it from the scratch, it is again going to take a lot of time. So planning is very important at this point of time, I would say. So you have to look at all the tasks which are here. You don't need to do it right in order. Yeah, you have to make sure which is the first priority, which is the second priority, kind of thing. So in that case, I started with creating. So let's say that um, let me put my green as priority one. In my case, I have done okay. I think this we have discussed it, but in one of our earlier videos as well. So let's say green as priority one, and brown as priority two, and let's say um, pink as an independent task. So this is how I would classify it. So in that case, I would say the first one I should be doing is create domain. I think we have created a domain here. So if I just go to my Windows server and log in here and go to the server manager, I could see my local server is now part of nitish.acca, which is my domain controller. And when I click on the tools, I could see that I have my Active Directories domains, I have my users and computers. You click on Active Directory domains, you can see that a domain is available here. And I haven't made any trust. We don't want to create any trust at this point of time. So if I go to users and computers, right, we will come back to the computers. So this is my domain controller. So if I click on this one, the domain controllers, I can see that my SDC is my domain controller, which means we have we have added for us to named yourname.acca, which has been done. And then we have configured routing and remote access services. So here in our case, we are using point-to-point tunneling, which means um, one thing I'm doing is I'm asking my server to act as a router and then route the packets here. And then we have done VPN as well, site-to-site VPN, which means literally what we wanted to do is we wanted to create a tunnel between these 2 points. That's what we did, so that any communication happens between these two networks, they go through this tunnel. So it is not publicly available, so it is not available on a public network kind of thing. That's what we were trying to do. We are trying to get through. So I think that would be my second group, second priority of work I might be doing. Um, and then here I have modified my firewall rules. Uh, I used PowerShell scripts, but if you want, you can use your manual way to modify your firewall rules. Um, this would be my first thing, and then I might have done this one. Uh, Join the client S1 to my domain controller. So these are my second tasks here. And then if I go to my SC server, again here, uh, routing and remote access servers, we don't do routing and remote access servers, rather than we do equivalent services, which means we have forwarded packets, IP forwarding, and we have modified the firewall rules as well. And then we have created site to site VPN. So this I would classify as my group one. And then let's go to my group two tasks. If I want to classify my group two task, I would say creating all the A records, reverse lookup, um, creating user accounts for your domain. And then I would say here, you can create a child domain with this one, but there are easy other ways to do, rather than if you're going to do it, if you're going to create a child domain, yes, of course you can do it. So you do it. um, but if you think it is a bit more complicated for you, or it is too much for you to come up with, it is fine. So what is the equivalent thing? What is the purpose of creating a child domain? To add over control within the network, to bring everything under an umbrella of a network of our domain, which is my name.acca, which is nitish.acca. So instead of I creating a child domain, because a parent domain is a Windows server, and you are trying to create a child domain in your Linux machine, which means it is too much of complications involved in it. But however, if anyone wants to try it, yes, you are happy to try it. But if anyone feels that it's too much for you, then what is an alternative? You can come up with some equivalent services or alternative services to work around. So in that point, I would add the Linux network as a member of my domain. So this would be my second task, and then I would join my client to my domain member. So here at this point, I would say our videos, we are focusing on not the child domain, but adding Debian server to Debian server to as a member, as a member of natish.acca. So that's what we have done, and you can also do the same thing for the client as well. So let's go here, and you can add it. So this would be my second priority, I would say. And then the independent tasks here, what we have is configuring the DHCP services, and you export it from the user list, and assign clients with a DHCP address, mount second disk to the Swansea file. The same way, you can either configure a DHCP services in two different servers, the Debian and the Windows server, or you can just configure a, a DHCP server in your SDC and then relay it to your C server or any network here. You can do it anyways. It's up to you to decide which one you are going to do. So this is what excuse me. So this is how I would prioritize it. So with this priority, if I move on, so we have completed this part. I'm sorry, I will go with this. We have completed this part. We have completed 2. We have completed 3 at this point of the video. We have installed routing and remote access. We have modified this. We have created the forest. We have created the A records. We have created reverse lookups. We have created user accounts. Um, right, and yeah, we have also joined the clients here. So the one which is pending here is the DHCP services, which I will be doing it at the later port uh, after doing other things. And then here, yes, we have installed we didn't do a routing and remote access service, but we have done what routing is going to do with IP forwarding. So we forwarded IPs, and then for remote access, we did VPN. We did a point-to-point as well here. So this task is done, and then we have to do the child domain or adding Debian server uh, to as a member of natish.acca. This one is pending, and then configure site-to-site VPN is done. Yeah, we have done site-to-site VPN as well. DHCP server is pending. Join the client and assign DHCP. This is pending as well. So these are the 3 tasks which is pending here in C server, and these are the 3 tasks which is pending uh, with DHCP as well. So let's go around one after the other and try to work around, so and then complete it. Okay.